Hello, friends, and thank you so much for serving on this Sunday, August 13th, 2023. I am not here this Sunday, so I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of what to expect. First of all, you still see the July memory verse up because I'm filming this before I go out of town, but underneath it is the August memory verse sheet. I will not pre-write anything on there, so when you come in, you will need to look at the lesson plan to know what part of the verse memory verse we're covering this week, and then you can decide what words you want to just put a blank line in to have the students help you with. So that is kind of the beginning. Then I won't have the materials laid out ahead of time. So if we need more Bible prizes, they are on top of the cabinet right there. And to find your lesson plans and your lesson materials, you're just going to come over to the cabinet. There is a little container for every week. And so August 13th has all the materials that you will need for this week. So whoever arrives first, go ahead and get the materials out of that, and I will walk you through them right now. Okay, so in these materials, in the material bucket, you saw that there is 2 packets. There's one that is labeled for kindergarten through 2nd grade lesson plans and craft materials, and then 3rd through 5th grade lesson plans. They do not have a craft this week for 3rd through 5th grade, and I'll explain that in greater detail in a moment. But so this week, we are not using the Gospel Story Bible because we are done with it, actually. So we're taking a break to do some other studies before we return to it and restart at the beginning of the Old Testament. But so this week, we are going to do a study on Jesus's baptism. And let me rewind on that. We are going to use it this week because the story that's in there about Jesus' baptism is great, but we're just pulling it kind of out of the middle. We're not following it in order. There was a sacraments and baptism class that was offered for any person at the Oaks that is 3rd grade or older. So we're going to do a brief study on baptism this week so that we can address it also here in Oaks Kids, and especially for our 3rd through 5th graders who may have taken the class and attended the question and answer session this morning. If they have any other questions or things they just want to discuss as a group, this would be a great time to do that. This is a very, very important week for them. So we're going to start with everything is normal at the beginning, and then this week's song is Walk on Water. You will have to look it up on YouTube because it is categorized as a kids video, so it doesn't allow us to save it. So just search for that in the YouTube app and you will have it pull up. And then when you get to the memory verse, we are on week 2. He will dwell with them and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them as their God. And so if you're downstairs, you're going to write that out, but choose which words to just put a blank line for and have the kids fill it in. If you're upstairs, they're going to write all of those words. And then we're going to do our normal prayer time together. And then this is where things change a little bit. I'm going to try to flip one over so that you can see it. If you ever want to look at lesson plans early, they are saved on Planning Center. So for this week, I misspoke at the beginning. I apologize. We are using the Gospel Story Bible and looking up the baptism of Jesus on pages 166 and 167 to support us talking about baptism today. So downstairs, teacher reads it. Upstairs, the students take turns reading paragraphs out loud if they are comfortable doing that. And then after you read it from the Gospel Story Bible, then they're going to get out their ESV Bibles and they are going to read where it is located in Matthew. Matthew 3, 11 through 17. Again, K through 2, they're going to locate it and listen to the teacher read it. 3rd through 5th, they are going to locate it and read it independently. K through 2, they might need some guidance with that. If you see kids that are doing great with it, maybe have them partner up with other kids that are struggling with it. And then there are a lot of questions, a lot of questions this week, and then saying the memory verse. So if you're in K through 2, the follow-up craft is attached. I will show that to you in a second. So K through 2 is going to have a craft. It is basically making a dove. So here's the directions for that craft. And then some are pre-cut out if they can go deeper into the details if they want, and some are not pre-cut. When Natalie made these a long time ago, she did like an outside line so that they don't have to try and do those minute details. So if they just want to follow the outside line, they can. And if you look at the direction sheet, they have to do 2 of the hole punches, which there is a hole puncher in the materials, and there are already cut black yarn for them, but I also included the entire yarn thing too if there ends up not being enough. There are 30, so hopefully that will be plenty. And so they use this to show the dove how the Spirit came down. So they can kind of act it out with the string. But they can add details to it. If you want to have them write a verse from what they just read in Matthew in it, you could write that on the board and have them copy it down onto their dove if they need extra time. But that's what you're doing in K through 2. In 3rd through 5th, you are going to just have discussion. I think that this is a week that they're just going to need to talk. So they might want to just talk together about what their thoughts are on baptism. The biggest point that I want both groups to really, really focus on is that baptism is not what saves you. Baptism is an outward expression of what you already believe in your heart. You have already been, already accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior. You are already saved. This is just an outward expression of that belief. It's really important that they make that distinction. And so it is in the questions. They do talk about that in the questions and also in the story. But I just want to really make sure that you emphasize that with them. But so they can talk, they can journal about it quietly if they would prefer to just write their thoughts down. And then if there's extra time on the material cart, I'm going to try and set them up on top, but they might be inside or up on top. Card games like Uno, Taco Cat, Goat Cheese Pizza, those types of card games for them to be able to play when they're finished if they need kind of a mental break after the study. And then, make sure your cell phone volume is on so that when you receive a text that it is time to come back downstairs, that you know to bring the kids down. But that is it. So everything you need is going to be in this bucket in that, almost dropped the camera, in that cabinet. And that is it. Also, 3rd through 5th graders, I moved the Bible prizes onto, there's a small desk in the little alcove just outside their classroom up there. And I moved the Bible prizes to there. So the stickers are laid out flat and the little bag of Starburst are there too. So they can choose one sticker or one Starburst if they brought their Bible. Downstairs, you've got a mix of McDonald's prizes and snacks. If it's running out, just grab the bin up top and refill. And that is it. Thank you guys so much for serving this week.